as far as numbers, I've never been a big fan of it. I think a lot of people have spoken some interesting things, and I agree with. TIFs, to my knowledge, have always been designed for business, to get business in competitive from one place to another, not for housing developments. So I've never been a big fan of Scarborough the last year, extending the TIFs to, all kinds of things. Also, I like numbers, and maybe it exists, I just haven't seen it. I'd like to see a 2, 5, and 10-year growth of Scarborough by types of housing, apartments, duplexes, condos, single family, compared to our 7 competitors. When I mean 7, when I was on board, I always like to look at the 7 geographical areas. We border 7 municipalities. If you want to toss in Yarmouth, Falmouth, and Wyndham, which are socially, economically like Scarborough, let's see what is our growth rate relative to the various types of housing compared to those 7 or 10 areas. What do we have for existing? How many apartments do we have relative to total housing compared to all those? And let the people see that. That tells you how fast we grow and what type of distribution we have for people. I'm all for growth, but I'm for measured growth. And I know in the last 20 years, and we had a big growth in the 90s, which, and then we've really elevated it. But let's see, why do we need all these apartment growth relative to the individual houses that we used to grow back in the 60s and 70s? But let's get the numbers out there so people can see it. And I've never seen that. Now, maybe the town manager has those comparisons of our 7 competitors, or 10 if you want to add in a few other towns. But I think the public needs to know, what are we doing relative to the rest of not the world, our universe here, which is we don't need to compare ourselves to Kittery. People aren't, yes, somebody might live in Kittery and work in Scarborough, but the majority are within a 30-mile radius. So I'd like to see that.